Good morning. This is Sarah Honeydew, November 7th, 1896, at 221 B. Baker Street. We are going to talk to the most famous detective of England about a very important case. Please welcome Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
How do you do?
Very well. Mr. Sherlock Holmes, will you please begin your story?
Miss Honeydew, it was a cold Saturday morning in October of 1895. I was relaxing in my sitting room, catching up on the latest gossip at Wimbledon in the London Times. Dr. Watson had gone to visit a patient in Hickleberry Square. My landlady and housekeeper, Mrs. Hudson, was out shopping at the fish and vegetable market, and the Baker Street irregulars were down by the river investigating the rumors of a body found floating in the Thames. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I opened it and was startled to find a distressed young woman in a red cloak staring at me. She had let herself in, as the front door was sometimes left ajar in order to air out the flat. I observed from her breathless condition and the mud splatters on the hem of her cloak from the Baker Street cobblestones that she had come in great haste to see me. I invited her in with a wave of my hand, and she slumped, exhausted, into the velvet chaise lounge by the fireplace.
Mr. Holmes, would you be able to speed up your story before we run out of time for our show?
Yes, of course. Her story touched me deeply. It seemed that the Duke of Edinburgh, who she had been having a clandestine affair with, had given her a very valuable and rare gold coin from India, which had come into the Duke's possession when he was in New Delhi. It had a very personal inscription on it from the Princess of Thailand, who had pledged her love to the Count Najar before the French-Muslim War of 1876. She begged my help in finding it before the Duke realized that it was missing. The lady had my promise of complete confidentiality because her delicate reputation may have been compromised, especially if the coin was found in the Duke's personal quarters at West Essex.
Mr. Holmes, did you risk helping her?
Yes, I did. This case may have gotten into the newspapers with disastrous results, since the Duke was engaged to be married to a widow named Priscilla Salisbury, an heiress to a sizable fortune. I advised Miss Candelabra, that was her name, that we had to work quickly and go to the Duke's residence undetected and search from top to bottom. I surmised from Miss Candelabra's tale that she had been seeing the Duke regularly for personal reasons.
Uh-oh. You better explain that one before we go on.
Yes, of course. You see, Miss Candelabra had been posing semi-nude for some photographs and a portrait the Duke was making of her, which could have rocked the British Empire, since, as I said, the Duke was engaged to Mrs. Salisbury.
Well, so let's get to the search.
Well, the lady had been informed that the Duke was away and the servants had the day off. So we seized the opportunity, hailed a cab, and off we went.
Well, let's get to the point of the story. Did you or she find it? The coin?
Yes. It was quite evident that the Duke had found the coin himself, held it close to his heart, and hidden it carefully. No mention was made of the semi-nude photos or the portraits. Mrs. Salisbury never found out about the whole affair. The Duke and his sins with Miss Candelabra went completely undetected because I managed to distract the editor of the London Times with a rousing game of croquet, his favorite.
Well, thank you, Mr. Holmes. You found the lost coin and forgiven the lady in red of her sins, and everyone is happy. As in the lost coin in Luke chapter 15, verse 8 to 10. This is Sarah Honeydew for Janus Biblical Productions saying to you that you too can ask God for forgiveness for your sins. And good morning.